welcome. Awesome. All right. Who wants to kick off? Are you kicking off? I don't think we have any product updates from Nav. I liked your little call out there. Do you want to give that to the crowd? Give them what they want, Bryce.
Yeah, sure. We might not include it in the recording, but it's public information if you know how to search for it. So, since launching on base mainnet on March 17th, it is all provably tractable on the blockchain. Over $100,000 in USDC rewards have been distributed to pilots. That is to say, in roughly the past month, pilots have earned about $100,000 in USD for completing missions. I'm seeing some folks are having some connectivity issues. Let them know in the chat if you are experiencing likewise. Everything seems to be working from our end. I'm just going to call out a few CTAs here, as I do see some folks saying hello in the chat, and that is more than welcome. We got 3 ways to earn XP on this call. First of all, XP for all attendees who make a post in the chat. We'll just give you a little salute, 25 XP if you're signed up with Zeely. That is to say, your Discord and wallet are connected to Zeely. Likewise, the first 5 or so really good questions in the chat will receive some extra XP. And then finally, before the end of this call, I will post a new Ask a Pilot question. And if you answer that by 3:30, that is to say an hour from now, you'll get double XP for doing so. We'll give you a little call out for that last one when I post it live. But yeah, for now, maybe we should just hop into the demand-led missions. I don't think I have the latest one in here, actually. I saw there was a notification went off when I was in a meeting. All right, we got a completion incentive for one of these. I'll just bring it up there. All right.
Couple things happening. There was Philadelphia. There were 7 missions, and then there was another Philadelphia. So I'm not even sure if this is the first one or the second one that you've got listed here, but they've been hitting us sort of starting to come fast and furious, which is great. So we had Philadelphia 2 days ago, 2 days ago go live, and then another one go live yesterday. Calgary just came up with another one. So Calgary, Alberta. Haven't looked and seen if there's been any activity on those yet. Obviously, the large capture in LA, it's sitting at about 60-65% complete. We have additional information on the next phase of that capture coming at you, hopefully by end of day today, if not by tomorrow for sure. That's just some information that will enable pilots to submit for LAANC authorizations. So a lot of these missions are coming in some in the sub 300, some in the sub 200, some even in the sub 100, I think. So we're going to give you about 10 business days to get those authorizations in. We will provide you with the zone hashes and a KML and just kind of a general overview of where those missions are, so that if you're in the area and you're planning to fly, you have time to select an area that you want to fly and get that request in. It'll probably be difficult to get a request in for the whole thing, so you may want to block out a chunk it out for yourself or something like that. On top of that, we still have Telkwa-Smithers. We added a $300 USDC completion bonus to the Telkwa collection. So that would, we hope, incentivize someone to make that trip over there from maybe Prince George if you're in that area, or possibly even the central interior, help with some travel, offset some travel costs, etc. Because we know that one's quite remote. We have the missions in New Albany. I think have mostly been completed. Someone was back out there completing a few more the other day, and I know there's some access restrictions there, but thank you for getting out and grabbing those. And we, I believe, still have Kansas City, Missouri. I did not check today if those have been reserved or if there's been any action on those.
I'm just checking now.
Is there any additional?
They still are flyable.
Still flyable in Kansas City. All right. If Kansas City is of interest, but $80 maybe isn't going to cut it for you, feel free to reach out and let us know that, you know, maybe it's a couple hours from where you're at, but you'd be willing to make that trip if the incentive made sense. Let us know.
Do you think I should share all these amounts and links to the zones in the chat?
Sure. Yeah, it can't hurt. Although some of them I believe have been grabbed already, but go ahead and share them in the chat, and what's left is left. That's how the network works.
Perfect. All right, I'm seeing some questions come in already. We will definitely do our best to get to those before the end of the call. I'm going to take us through this week's and next week's launches first, as always. This month's launches are all posted in pilot announcements. Let's talk about this week. So on Monday, April 20th, St. Louis had 300 missions. Tuesday, April 21st, Phoenix, Arizona, 294. Wednesday, I'm not going to list the number. It's 294 for all of these. On Wednesday, April 22nd, Cincinnati, Ohio, got those missions. Thursday, Philadelphia and Albuquerque, New Mexico. And then on Friday, April 24th, Nanaimo, BC. This brings us to next week. On Monday, April 27th, Providence, Rhode Island. Tuesday, April 28th, Baltimore. What's MD? Why am I so brain dead right now?
Maryland.
Thank you. I was like doctor. On Wednesday, April 29th, Toronto, Ontario. Thursday, April 30th, Chicago, Illinois. And Thursday, April 30th, Detroit. Why am I so brain dead right now? I almost said Detroit, Minnesota. And then finally, on Friday, May 1st, Tampa, Florida is having 196 missions launch. A reminder, if you make fun of Bryce in the chat, it hurts his self-esteem. So don't do that. Let's just hop straight into community updates. We've got a lot to go through on this call. So on the Discord side of things, I've mentioned this last week, but the Raider and Super Raider roles have been retired all alongside the category and channels. We have a new role for some of those folks found in community. It's been rewarded to the top 15 contributors from the former Raider and Super Raider roles. And a lot of those folks are also community contributors and in some cases pilot contributors, and they keep those roles as always. One little change we made was DPIN Explorer is now just community member. To put it simply, you can see the reason for the jargon. So we're just going to keep it nice and simple. Anyone can be a community member, but I hope it goes without saying, you need to be able to fly in order to get the pilot role. That brings us to a couple other very minor changes. The community content channel is now the captures and content channel. Just trying to make it clear, this is the channel for sharing anything related to flying missions, or flying in general, actually, excuse me. It doesn't need to be related to Spexi or the LayerDrone network in general. Should be related to drones, ostensibly. And then the general channel, I have changed to general chat under community. Feel free to chat there. And finally, I wanted to give you the heads up on a couple changes, some of which have been informed by some feedback I've been getting from you guys. We are going to change sorry, let me take this from the top. The hangar category name isn't going to change, but we're going to rename the hangar channel to pilot verification. So in the future, when new pilots join us, they know what they're doing in the hangar. Start here is going to get updated. The official links and FAQs are going to be updated. And then we are also going to make some improvements to pilot support. This brings me to the community spotlight. I saw 3 folks in the community I wanted to shout out, particularly for their contributions in community content. Now, content and captures. That's Unusual Silverfish, Brave Fly, and Existing Centipede. I want to say thanks for sharing your shots. I'm going to award you another 100 XP for doing so. And those should actually be shared on the socials in the very near future, if they haven't already. Also, I believe Existing Centipede shared some really good feedback around USDC. They had some very fair concerns before the launch of that, which I hope they understood, took very seriously. And so it absolutely made our week to see that they came out of USDC the other side, happy with how everything went. As I mentioned at the top of this call, you post in chat on this call, we'll send you 25 XP. You post a good question, one of the first 5 ones. We might already be at that point. I will check at the end of the call. We'll award you 50 XP. And then finally, once I'm finally done, stop talking, and I share the Ask a Pilot question. If you give that an answer before the next hour is up, we'll award you double XP. If you have any challenges with connecting to Zeely, I'm going to share some instructions for doing so in the chat real quick. Oh, that is an ugly looking little message. I might edit it real quick too. And I will also mention that we had a podcast episode go out on Monday, the Drone Network, breaking down the gap between what I perpetuate as the drone's public image and its economic reality, and what I think is the secret feature of boring, standardized, and hard to see or hear drones. I will share that link once this sentence ends. And then finally, I'm going to stop talking for about 30 to 45 seconds, which will be thrilling for everyone else. Post that Ask a Pilot question, and I'll let you know when I do that. Graham, buy me some time.
Buy some time. I can probably handle that, except I wasn't scrolling with you. Yeah, May launches should be announced anytime, probably Monday. We'll announce the May launches. We are just getting final verification on certain cities. We will be launching a similar amount. We'll be going to slightly larger groups, about 40 spexagons per zone across I forget how many cities. Nav might have to jump in and help, but we will have an announced launch. We are seeing, as I hope you guys are, an increase in the task demand missions, which often come in a little bit smaller. We will be hitting the Esri /ArcGIS content store. So I know a month or two ago we announced that we had been, sort of integrated into Skywatch's content store. Skywatch is a third-party, essentially, sales channel where clients can request aerial imagery, satellite, airplane, and now drone with Spexi. We'll be moving that a step forward right into the Esri content store that is located in ArcGIS. So a geospatial software platform used by many, many, many governments and enterprises around the world will suddenly have the ability to task drone imagery on the Spexi network directly from their Esri consoles, which will be incredible and should mean we start to see even more requests. As that happens, you'll be we understand that you won't be able to plan it. We're not able to plan it. we get these and we set goals for ourselves to have them on the network in basically within 24 hours. So the stuff that's happening, you're seeing in Philadelphia, that you're seeing in Calgary, that you're seeing in San Francisco and LA, that stuff's hitting our sort of request inbox and then coming to you as quickly as we can get it to you. So we're really excited for that over the next couple of months to see more and more of this stuff hitting the network live. I see a question about Colorado, is what's the demand for imagery right now? It's gonna shift, and so you're gonna see us launching a certain amount of missions as we have been on a monthly cadence, testing different things, stress testing the network. But you're also going to see a ton of stuff coming onto the network. We hope a ton of stuff coming onto the network that is like, hey, this is live now. This is going live right now. This is going live tomorrow. And that's really the longer term vision of the network, is that areas are just constantly lighting up. That'll go into in-app announcements and notifications sometime between the end of Q2 and beginning of Q3. That's high on product's priority list. So you'll start being able to see right in the app, oh, this new campaign is live. This new group of missions has become available. But we'll continue with the Discord announcements for the foreseeable future as well. And hopefully that keeps you guys busy. That's our goal, is to keep you busy as much as possible, give you things to do, give you missions to complete and money to earn on the network. So pretty excited for the next couple of months. There's a lot happening both on the customers and the channel partner side, and then on the mission side hitting the network. Was that enough time, Bryce?
More than enough time. I needed extra. I posted last week's question right away. But everything should be updated now. The question is, what's the most you've made flying a drone? Doesn't need to be money, could be money, but I'm just curious. So let us know. Easy 25 XP for just sharing your answer. Images or videos will give you 200 XP. Do that in the next hour. We'll double it. Thank you so much for sharing all that, Graham. I think that's actually the extent of the agenda. Have we done a very good job of staying on top of these questions, or should we maybe cycle back and make sure we get to them all?
There was one more great question. Well, there's two questions I'd like to address. One was about one of the completion incentives. It was answered by a few of the other pilots. They are a very manual process right now. Once the work is complete, we have to verify that it's been complete, get your pilot name. We have to submit that with some details to our finance team, and then they have to process that and get the payment sent out. So give us a little bit of grace, please. We promise you will be paid for any completion incentives. They are taking a little bit longer than we'd like right now, and we were working just this afternoon with our finance team on tightening up that process. We hope to have it down to our first goal is a weekly cadence. So once a week, those payments will all go out, and get that really tightened up on these incentives. Thank you so much for your help when we offer those and for jumping on those missions. Obviously, we understand that in many cases you're doing them because of because that incentive is there, and we're working to make sure that speeds up.
Fantastic.
The other one, sorry, one more question that was asked was the hybrid. So starting May 1st, all of the missions going on the network, at least our goal right now and our plan right now is that all missions that hit the network starting May 1st will be hybrid, unless they are the grid mapping missions, which are specifically for our partnership with Niantic. Yeah, so all you'll see is hybrid or grid mapping starting May. That's it.
Fantastic. I was just going to start reading out the questions as they were coming in. These are some pretty specific questions, guys. All right. You just answered the hybrid question. Let's see what else we got here. I put in my airspace requests for LA for May 1st to 10th. Is that a good window? Graham, any opinion there?
Put my SPC LA for yeah, I think we're gonna launch. The current plan is to have those go live on May 4th, Duncan. So falls in the middle of your May 1st. Maybe a little early, but hopefully that works out.
All right. Regular Cheetah asks, will cross-border flying be enabled soonish?
I don't have an update on cross-border flying. That's falls within our sort of legal and tax team's purview, and I don't know where it sits on their priority list.
Good question, though. Sorry, some of these are questions I'm not going to be putting on the transcript.
I see Cleveland Rocks asking if they'll be paid double for hybrid flights. It won't be double, but it will be more, and we hope continues to match sort of the effort versus efficiency. They're obviously faster to fly one hybrid than two separate missions, but we've priced them in alignment with our existing sort of pricing versus time and effort and efficiency for the pilot. Continue to try to maintain a very similar standard.
Absolutely. I'm seeing a really good question from Tom G, actually. We get a little used to our jargon here. Could you define what a hybrid flight is?
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we can get a quick screenshot. I could either find it or maybe Nav, you can find a screenshot. Nav said it there in the chat, a combination of a multi-pano and a mapping mission. So right now there's two mission types that hit the board. The one where your drone flies to the center, does a panorama, and then flies to 6 more pano stations, as we call them. And so overall the mission is 7 panoramic images. That's mission type 1. The other mission type is the mapping mission, where it goes back and forth, and collects the camera's pointing straight down in a nadir position and collecting imagery for orthomosaics. The hybrid mission encompasses both of those missions in one. So the drone will fly along the mapping flight line. I think it's on the second line. As it's coming back, it stops and it does a panorama, continues, and it stops and does a panorama, and then continues the mapping flight and stops at each of the panel locations. So you get both imagery collection types in one flight. Those flights we're finding take between 11 and 15, 16 minutes, depending on the type of drone you have. And obviously you don't need to complete one, stop, restart the other one from the start location. It's happening all at once. So that's the hybrid mission that will be coming online in May. And yeah, it's been tested out by several of our top pilots already. They did a number of tests. We've tested it internally. And I'm not going to announce pricing yet because the value is still a little bit conversations happening, but we're fairly certain. Yeah, absolutely, Tom.
Right. Oops, Inappropriate Wildebeest asks, can we exchange some XP for RP? Reason, when my metro reopens, I'm afraid I'll get limited spots. There's a lot of pilots who travel and have max reservations. May make it hard for us newer enrollees to get some work. Graham, you might have some things to say about new pilots and RP.
Yeah,
but,
we can't do
when
an
it comes to XP, I'm happy to take that part of the question.
Right, we can't do an XP-RP direct exchange right now. We just don't have the technical capability to do that. With regards to RP, the onboarding missions are supposed to help you unlock that first reservation. We are also in conversations around the return of what we call open capture, essentially the white missions on the board that don't have a cash value but do have an RP value, and how those might look if and when they come back, and whether there might be some pooled cash rewards or things like that around that type of capture. So probably don't expect anything until the beginning of Q3, so like maybe July. But definitely those conversations are happening and those plans are happening with how we bring that back, which would allow new pilots to collect and capture some flights, basically build up some RP, maybe earn a small amount of cash, and also unlock those reservations. There was also a question in one of the chats before the call started asking about if there's a moment we would stop bringing on new pilots. And while we probably wouldn't, at least for the foreseeable future, like block someone from signing up, we have reduced our pilot advertising already, especially in geographies and locations where we feel like we've reached a level of sort of saturation in terms of the balance. And it's a constant, any two-sided marketplace, your Ubers, your DoorDashes, skip the dishes, your delivery, anyone that's sourcing supply and selling demand, you're constantly trying to like balance that out, right? We understand that for you guys, the attractiveness of the network is that there's something for you to do. There's work on the network, and for buyers, they want the data quickly. So there's this balancing act between having enough pilots and having enough people providing supply, also having enough for them to do and keeping them busy. So yes, foreseeably, there's a day where we are restricting or throttling the number of pilots in a given geography or area. It's not right now. We're still early days and trying to grow and show traction and interest on both sides of the marketplace. But we do consider that, and we do take it into account that the number of pilots needs to match to some degree the amount of demand, for sure. Go ahead, Bryce.
For sure. Just circle back to the original question of can we exchange XP for RP? Graham answered that pretty straightforward. Technically, it's just very challenging right now to implement that, and I don't think realistic. To be candid, the LayerDrone Foundation treats XP as a form of valuing community contributions, RP as a form of valuing pilot contributions. And if and when a token launches, how that token would be distributed would probably be based on the value of those contributions. So if we do start to mix XP to RP, it would be a question of how it converts, but it is just also a lot of potential overlap that might complicate that quite a bit. That said, the actual underlying issue, i.e., being able to reserve things, having a reasonable onboarding experience as a relatively new pilot, absolutely top of mind, and also making sure that XP and RP do translate to meaningful outcomes for you guys is also very top of mind. So I apologize for not being able to say anything too specific beyond leanings, thoughts, and here's why X won't happen, but here's something promising in the direction of Y. But hopefully that's helpful in some capacity. Graham, do we see any more questions here? Oh, I saw one I want to make sure you give the answer to. Uzi, just want to make sure I don't mess up. April 29th, Toronto, 8 a.m. local my time zone, reservation and launch, right? So on Wednesday, April 29th, Toronto, Ontario is supposed to be on the network. So I believe Uzi is asking when they can make their reservations.
8 a.m. Yeah, there's no early reservation as we were doing for a little while there. It's launched 8 a.m. day of flying day, reduce confusion.
Perfect. So 8 a.m. or basically once it's flyable that day. Well said, well answered. Anything coming up in Calgary? We've got Chandler Bing asking that one.
Yeah, Calgary, there was just some demand missions announced. And Calgary's actually been busy. The city of Calgary is a client. They have purchased a batch of like an annual subscription. I don't know the exact details of their agreement, but they can essentially trigger capture at any time. So we have seen over the past couple of weeks missions going out fairly regularly in Calgary. So I imagine the answer to that will be yes.
Yeah. So there are actually some demand missions. I think, let me just quickly double check as I am on the record right now. Oh, during this call, I think 3 of them are awaiting upload now. I think we checked before the beginning of the call. All right. Well, that's remarkable. Well done, Calgary.
Yeah, I mean the questions I see, anything Ottawa, anything the question Atlanta, the answer is we're going to know less and less. We're going to have less and less advanced warning. We have some areas that we've we test in, and so we know those when we go to May. When we announce the May captures, those will be scheduled out in advance. They're tests for different purposes, for speed, for network activity, for sometimes specific data types, etc. But any demand missions that clients come to us with, we don't necessarily get advanced warning. So I could say today, oh, we got nothing for you in Ottawa, and tomorrow we might launch 1,000 missions in Ottawa. I mean, 1,000 might be usually when there are 1,000, there's a little bit of back and forth, and we have a bit of warning, but not necessarily. So point being, I can't always, we can't always tell you days or weeks or months in advance that Ottawa is coming up. That doesn't mean there won't be missions in Ottawa in the next week or month. We just don't know right now.
Existing Centipede asks, have you guys developed any kind of a case study on the BC missions from last year during the flooding? Would be great to market in the emergency management sphere that I work in.
I'm not sure if there was a follow-up sort of case study done. There were two flooding initiatives, one in the fall and one just about a month and a half ago in BC that were both emergency management BC. I can ask Ben from our marketing team if there are any.
Yeah, I'll look into that too. You chugged there for a second, but we caught you'd get in touch with Ben. By the way, next episode of the Drone Network featuring Ben, so you'll find out who that is. Fun little preview for you all.
Great.
The other thing about the flooding that we're just very cognizant of is we're trying not to turn it into advertising. So I think the case study is something that might have been made, but might not have been shared publicly, just for the nature of disaster response. You don't want to make light of it. You don't want to turn it into marketing. All right, we are approaching the last couple minutes of the call. Graham, I'm seeing a few questions that are pretty common, so maybe we'll just take them from the top. Roughly when can people expect May's schedule?
Yeah, I just run to Duncan. I'll see if we can get it out tomorrow. We just need to have finalize everybody on the same page of. That's why I said maybe Monday, but probably I think we can probably go live with it tomorrow.
All right, fantastic. As soon as tomorrow, then. Unusual silverfish. Why do you post long transition line on the grip maps that's done at the midpoint? Can that be corrected? I believe they're asking about the flight path of the Spexagon itself. It's seemingly some sort of U-turn transition.
It does actually, I think, take 2 images on that pass, 1 or 2 images. I think that's the one he's talking about. Silverfish, we can chat about that elsewhere, but it's probably not going to be moved. Right now, the flight and images have been optimized to capture the data specifically in that case for Niantic for their Gaussian splatting, and so those are probably required.
Well said. Okay, if there's any questions we didn't get to here that you would like answered, please feel free to post them in the general chat, and we will do our best to get to them shortly. I'm going to be a little offline for the next hour or so while I get this recording downloaded, uploaded, shared with you all, and with everyone who couldn't attend it today. But we'll do our best to answer them in the interim. Last question for Ishu Kelly. Can there be a pathway for experienced pilots, manned aircraft, Part 107 inspection or farm work, get the foot in the door getting missions? Graham, do we have any sort of verified pilot program or anything to that effect that this might be speaking to?
Unfortunately, not yet. It is something that's been brought up a variety of times with our product team, having, when we're working on emergency response, as we've discussed, when we're working in controlled airspace, tiering essentially the users, having some vetted pilot tier. It's exists right now, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Very good question, though. Top of mind for us. And as always, your suggestions are welcome and often do tend to trickle down to the product eventually. So it's very much appreciated and very much treasured as such. So I just wanted to say thank you all again so much for attending this week's community call. I don't think we mentioned it at the top, but always worth mentioning. 16th one of the year. Done a lot of these, Graham. You've done a lot of these. I've done some of these.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a while. It's I enjoy it. Getting into the community and getting the feedback and sharing what it is that we're doing and building. So thank you all for taking a little bit of time out of your day once a week to hang out with us. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Don't forget to share that answer in this week's Ask a Pilot question, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Have a great afternoon, evening, everyone.